morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us at Eldercare for our webinar this morning. My name is Amy Bostick.
And I'm Sarah Gillerin.
And we are so glad to have you guys this morning. We are super excited to bring on Transamerica. Mr. Jeremiah is going to be going over their final expense product today. And as always, you guys, we want this to be a conversation. So please feel free to, in the Q&A, you can definitely ask your questions there throughout this webinar. Any questions that you have or think of. And so without further ado, I would like to introduce Mr. Jeremiah with Transamerica. How are you this morning?
I am good, and of course, when I get this thing going, it switches screens on me, so give me a second while I
You're fine.
flip that around. But good morning, everyone. Glad to have you guys all aboard with us today. I will be talking a lot about our new final expense product, which actually I say new, but it's almost 2 years old at this point. But we keep making so many phenomenal changes to it that it seems like it's new. We take what you guys want and we take suggestions and we put it into the work for you guys to make sure that the product works the way you guys want it to. So there we go, got it switched around. So I'm excited to talk to you and share with you updates that have happened, share with you updates that since last time we talked, share with you updates that are coming still on the product. So we have a ton of stuff to go over. So you should be able to see my screen now.
Yes, we
set
can.
up so you guys are good. Awesome. Well, like they said, I will have the chat box open on the side. So if you guys do have questions, type in the chat. If you guys have questions, I don't know if you can come off mute, but come off mute and ask them. It doesn't matter. I want to make sure you guys leave here with all the knowledge that you need to go out and start writing this product immediately, because it is a great product and a lot of benefits for your clients that you're going to see throughout this webinar and benefits for you. And we have more things coming. So without that, I will kick off a little bit while I bring up the contact information. I always like to provide this to you guys. So you can see the 866 number above. That is for our sales team. Guys, I will flat out say that is going to be the fastest, best number for you to reach out to for sales questions, right? If you have a new business question, right, we have a team for that. If you have a contracting question, we have a team for that. Again, this is just related to sales. So this would be like help with quotes or illustrations, or if you have a product question, or if you need help navigating the portal. Right, our team does very well at doing that, and the reason I speak of them so highly, and I kind of negate, myself and the two people below, is because, guys, I do a lot of traveling, I do a lot of these webinars, right? I don't always have my tools, my computer, my things in front of me, but that team there, they're in the office 100% of the time, available to help you, and are the quickest and fastest way to get your sales questions and issues resolved. So definitely utilize that number when you can. You can reach out to me if you'd like. I will be available when I am, and always usually take your call or get back to you. But that's my personal cell phone. You can call or text me there. And then I have my email there. Then I have two internals that work alongside of me as well, both James and Jason, and their office lines or direct office lines are there along with their emails as well. So I want to make sure you guys have that as you move forward, and give you a little bit of background on myself while I leave this up and let you jot down those or take screenshots. Guys, I've been in the industry for, I think it's creeping up on over 20 years, which doesn't seem like it's been that long, but it has. It's been a great experience. I've worked primarily with Transamerica, 2 different stints. For about 13, 14 of those years, and I was in the field for about 6. So I have experience from both sides of the picture here, and make sure that I can definitely understand what you're going through from an agent, an agent perspective, but I can also understand what we're looking at from the corporate side, and try to mix those two pretty well when we're working together, to try to help you get things resolved. So with that, let's get into the final expense today. And how long do I have, Amy and Sarah? Do I have a full hour? Do I have 45? Do I have a half hour? What do I have today for the call?
We try to keep it to 30 minutes.
We can pump with that. So let's go over this stuff. Let's get to the good things and where you want to, hone in. Why you'd want to sell Transamerica for one. The biggest is the first two bullet points, right? We have great underwriting rules where we can get majority of your clients day one coverage, right? And I'm going to share with you that. The reason I share that, I'll share the details of the underwriting here in a minute, but the reason I like to share that is because I was an agent in the field. I hated going to a carrier and writing business, doing an app and then getting declined, and then going to another carrier and getting declined, right? I like to understand the underwriting. I'm going to share that with you today so you can understand it, know what clients are going to fit with us, and which are going to be a lot. And we'd love to earn more of that business by showing you that today. The instant decision e-app, I'll walk through that here in a little bit. Makes it really simple, giving you that decision up front, right, before you have to go through the whole application. Right, it gives you that up front, so you know if they're approved before you have to go through a majority of that application, which is nice. Go ahead. Somebody have a question or somebody? Nope. All right.
No.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Sarah.
No, I said no. It's just really great whenever you have the instant decision where you can actually, get that answer before you have to get the bank information and all of that stuff. I think that's great.
Definitely. It definitely is a perk for sure of doing our application. That's a big plus. So I appreciate you jumping in and sharing that for sure. The other things, easy doing business, brand strength, it all coincides with each other. That easy doing business with the instant decision, like they just mentioned. And it was Sarah, right? Did I get a mix around?
It was
Sarah,
Amy.
right?
Yeah.
Amy, sorry, I didn't get a mix around. Your names are not the way
That's
you're
okay.
sitting. So I couldn't remember which one was what. All
You're
right. So
fine.
like Amy mentioned, that's part of easy doing business is that instant decision, getting it ahead of time, and the signature process. Having a really easy text to sign. If your clients are getting texts from loved ones and relatives and things like that, they can receive a text from you and give you a code, and that's all you need to do for that. So I'll talk a little bit about that here in a minute. Guys, it's a 10-minute app. I mean, it was when we rolled out. Actually, it's dropped down. It's about an 8-minute on average application, so super quick, with a funeral planning concierge service built into it. So, right, that's a benefit that your clients are getting, and that you're able to speak upon and help utilize to sell this product, right? Because not a lot of carriers, actually, I don't think there's very many that have a funeral planning benefit that's built into their product. So when you can share that helps just accelerate that selling process as another, just staple to what Transamerica offers your clients and their beneficiaries to help the process of that funeral planning, from a client perspective or even from a beneficiary perspective, to make it easier, more convenient, just to help them during that most difficult time, especially if it's with your beneficiaries. So that is a great service that's built into this product as well, that your clients can utilize, your beneficiaries are going to be able to utilize, and ultimately help you in the sales process as well. The product itself, a few changes here. It is 18 to 85, so a broad range of clients that you get to utilize for this. A lot of final expense, doesn't even start coverage until age 40, right? So we go down to age 18, which is nice. Minimum's 5,000. Maximum's actually 100,000 on this product. So I need to update this slide, but it's 100,000 on this product, and that's 18 to 75. So again, going back to just a benefit over our product over others is the fact that we do go down to age 18, and a lot of carriers again start at age 40, but they also start to tier down the death benefit. So with Transamerica, if you're looking at a 65-year-old, you could get 100,000. Maybe you go to ABC carrier and the max is 50, but for a 65-year-old, they actually only give you a max of 35,000. One, it's very hard to remember some of that. Trust me, I was in the field remembering all these carriers and their different age ranges and face mounts. I know it's difficult, right? I've been there. So the fact that we made it pretty easy and just a flat 18 to 75 age range up to 100,000 makes it super simple, right? We don't play any games, don't play any guessing games. Don't have to carry an agent guide around with you to try to memorize, what you can cover your client for. And then rounding out that 85 is 76 to 85 up to 25,000 max. And our graded, that 2-year graded, where it's return of premium plus 10% death benefit the first 2 years. Start of third year's full death benefit. That graded product is not a guaranteed issue. Got to remember that. It's a graded product that you're still going to answer health questions for. But that we do cover 18 to 80 with a minimum of 5,000 with a maximum of 25,000. Let me move through here. So underwriting, guys, we make this really super simple for you, right? You can look at our underwriting guide, or you can kind of memorize some of the medical conditions. But if the medical conditions, lifestyle factors, and height and weight are all select, you're most likely going to get select. If there's one graded in there, one graded condition thrown in there, you're most likely going to get graded. And again, if there's one decline condition, most likely going to get decline. And I say decline, or I say most likely, because as with any carrier you go to, right, you can't field underwrite and guarantee a client a rating, right? Because every carrier uses some type of third-party vendor to check background and medical and script check and all that, right? So you can be close based on our underwriting guide. I never would guarantee a rating based off just the underwriting guide, right? Because you never know what the client's sharing with you, all the information. Maybe they're lying to you. Maybe they misremembered something, didn't remember something. Things like that can happen. Where when we pull those things, we get all the information. We compile it with the information you have on the application. And we do give the client the best rating that we possibly can. So that's a question that we get a lot. Even if you put graded on the application and they get approved and they can get select, we will offer select to the client and vice versa. So just so you guys know, you don't have to be 100% accurate on your application, right? You do what you do based on the questions that are answered. You come up with a rating. We're gonna either approve that rating or give them a better or worse grading based on what we find in their script and medical background. So let's dive in for the next couple of minutes on underwriting. So I'm just gonna take this away real quick. I think this is one of the most important pieces that we could share today is underwriting, to make sure you guys understand what we're looking for. And I didn't hit to start at the right slide, so hang on while I click through this real fast and get to what we need to. Oh, there we go. So guys, the big things that are huge is that Transamerica accepts things like congestive heart failure day one. So when you see select, that's that day one, right? That's not that graded, that's the day one level immediate coverage. So we accept CHF, congestive heart failure day one, right? I can guarantee you there is no other carrier that accepts congestive heart failure day one. They just don't. It's not something that gets accepted day one. We're able to do that. Now, you get to the next one. There's 4 of them here that are really kind of distinguished, medical conditions against other carriers, like COPD. Like carriers will take COPD, right? And they may take it day one. There may be a few, but when you add emphysema and chronic bronchitis, again, they start to drop, right? You start to get less and less carriers that are going to accept that day one. But we do accept COPD, including emphysema and chronic bronchitis day one. The other big one here is diabetes, right? So carriers are becoming more lenient on diabetes because it's becoming more prevalent, unfortunately. And it is. It's just what it is. So carriers are starting to kind of facilitate that into their underwriting, but they're just facilitating diabetes, right? Once you get into like insulin and peripheral vascular disease, neuropathy, retinopathy, kidney disease, right? Again, carriers start to drop at who accepts them day one. Again, Transamerica with all of those things would accept your client day one, right? Most clients are going to have all of them. They'll have 1 or 2 of them, but we would accept them day one. And then heart attacks and heart disease. Some carriers are a 2-year look back on that, right? If it's even within 12 months, as long as they were in the hospital for 2 or more nights, during that 12 months, we would give them select rating even after. So after is definitely select. So again, a couple of conditions where we're going to give you day one where other carriers may not. Couple of examples of like unrelated medical conditions. We got this client who has COPD, diabetes with neuropathy, multiple sclerosis, and Parkinson's. All right. When I ask, when I'm at events or different things and I do this and I make it more of an interactive type of deal, a lot of clients are sitting, or a lot of agents will sit here and be like, oh, that's definitely graded, or I'd probably push that into a guaranteed issue scenario because of the COPD and diabetes. With Transamerica, if you look in our underwriting guide, all of these are select. And because all of these are select, if that Milliman report that we run, that we do the script check and the medical background comes back clean, this client would get day one coverage with us, right? You're not going to get that with most carriers because they're right. If you get about 3 to 4 conditions, most carriers, no matter what they are going to push them into a graded or ROP, right? And a lot of carriers will, you may not even accept this, but we're going to give you day one coverage on that, which is a benefit to you guys to have clients like this that you're able to get coverage for. You got this next client who has diabetes with neuropathy, lupus, and emphysema. Again, this client here, a lot, depending on the lupus agent or companies are going to probably, you might find some companies will give it day one. But severity of the lupus might hinder that and change that carrier by carrier. Transamerica is going to give you day one coverage for this client. And the last one I have, as far as unrelated medical conditions, is someone with, again, congestive heart failure. I talked about this. Just having congestive heart failure with pretty much every carrier, you're pretty much out. There's not even a lot of carriers that will take it graded, right? It's just going to be a guaranteed issue almost. But when you can look at this and we can add Parkinson's, depression, and Crohn's disease to it and still give you day one coverage, guys, that's type of the phenomenal underwriting that we're doing to try to help more of your clients get better coverage. Okay. A couple of things like we are not great with, but really kind of, we're not that good with, right? We're more intact with other carriers like cancer. You have to be cancer free for 2+ years to get graded with Transamerica. You have to be cancer free 4+ years to get a select rating. Right? We're not great with alcohol and drug abuse, especially when it's combined with like liver, kidney issues, things like that. Not great with it. And then the hospital thing is something that I think some carriers do, so I like to point it out. Just for your note, things like heart attack, stroke, CHF, trying to think of anything else, AFib, things like that. Right. For those conditions, if your client was hospitalized for 2 or more nights in the last 12 months, right, they're going to be a decline. So when I talk about CHF and I say, yep, CHF is select, right? But if they got CHF and they were in the hospital for 2 or more nights in the last 12 months, it's going to push it to a decline. So the hospital question is very important when you're asking that, right? But outside of that, we take it select. So if it's CHF and it was a hospital stay 2 or more nights, but it was after 12 months, right? So 366 days ago, right? You get select, right? If it was only in a hospital stay overnight, and that could be within 12 months or after, right? Then you can stay select with that. And then again, if there is no hospital stay, which is probably not going to be the case, but if there was, then it would be select as well. So we have a lot of positives there. It's just that one stipulation you got to check on the hospital stay. If it was 2 or more nights within 12 months, it's going to push a lot of those things to a decline. And then I want to talk about comorbidities because this is a really nice slide that I'm gonna go scroll through pretty quickly because I have 10 minutes left and I want to get through a couple of things. This, as you can see over here, guys, we updated our underwriting about almost a year ago now. It's been probably good 9 or 10 months since we updated this underwriting. So this is how we used to look at it about 10 months ago, right, with some of these comorbidity conditions. And these are Common conditions you're going to see that you're getting declines from multiple carriers on, right? That you're going probably guaranteed issue unmoddable, right? But as you can see, we were kind of in the same boat, but we made some changes. So like these first four are all graded. We actually moved them to select. So that's that day one coverage again. And those are, those are pretty heavy comorbidities, COPD and stroke, CHF and diabetes. Again, not all carriers are going to take CHF, but you have CHF and diabetes, and we're going to take it day one. That's unique, right? Diabetes and stroke, another one that a lot of carriers aren't going to take day one, that we will. Right, your next four, we're all declines. We actually give you graded on 3 of them with 1 select. The one that sticks out to me here is the diabetes and renal failure. Right, when I was in the field, that was always a guaranteed issue product. Now we can get you graded, and you're like, well, Jeremiah, what's the difference between graded and a guaranteed issue product? Well, I have 3 things that I will tell you why I think a graded product with us is definitely better than maybe a guaranteed issue, or even a graded with somebody else, right? So the first thing I would say is our graded rates are are very competitive, obviously, with other carriers' graded rates, but also very competitive with guaranteed issue rates. So if you're going to go guaranteed issue, it's not a huge, heavy factor of price, right? Where you're going to be like, oh, you could go guaranteed issue, it's going to be $20 cheaper than Transamerica graded. That's not the case, right? We're going to be pretty much equal to, or maybe a couple bucks cheaper or more expensive, depending on the age of the client. The other thing, that funeral planning service that I mentioned, right? You're not getting that on other graded products. You're also not getting that on a guaranteed issue product. So that's a benefit of why you'd want to go with Transamerica graded. And those are both for your client. The benefit for you is, I would almost beg to say, I don't know how we compare against some of the other carriers graded, but I know that I would guarantee you my next paycheck that we pay better than a guaranteed issue. So our commissions are better than a guaranteed issue product. So you're getting 2 benefits for your client and 1 benefit for you going with our graded. And then the last 6, these are pretty heavy conditions. These are pretty unhealthy folks. Probably going to be declined with about 95% of the carriers out there. You might find us and maybe a one other carrier that might get them, right? But we're actually look at these all day one, which is huge. Those are unhealthy folks, very very comorbidity stricken with multiple heavy conditions, and we're able to get you day one. Again, aside from the hospital, right? You see a lot of them have CHF. Actually, every single one has CHF. And a couple of them have stroke along there as well. So you got to understand the hospital. If you have somebody that says, hey, I have CHF and stroke, were you in the hospital the last 12 months for 2 or more nights? No? Boom. You could go select with Transamerica, right? That's how you kind of handle that. Okay? But those are some big changes, some big swings in our underwriting. So I mentioned the increase to 100K on the face amount. That's huge. No other carrier has the 100K, right? We're the only ones that have final expense up at 100,000, right? And we're the only ones that are going to accept pretty much anybody on this list. I don't know how many of these you're going to get a day one coverage for with any other carriers. You might get a graded with some of them, but we're going to give you select with, what is that? There's 11 of them, I think, on here. And let me count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Actually, there's 14. So we give you day one on 11 of these 14, right? Pretty much every other carrier is going to go graded on these conditions, if not guaranteed issue. And you're going to be able to get select on 11 of these conditions. Transamerica has got to be your go-to, right? And we're going to get better with our healthier clients. So you're going to notice our select rating. If a carrier has a preferred rating, guys, it's going to beat our selects. But right, they're going to have to be healthy enough to get that preferred rating. But if they have a standard rating or below, we're going to compete very well. But that's going to change here very soon. And I'll probably get with both Amy and Sarah, and we'll once this rolls out, we'll talk about our what we're going to call premier rates, which are going to be our preferred rates, right? We're going to be competitive with those healthy clients as well. So those of you that have been looking at our select and then looking at maybe other carriers and getting a preferred rating and being like, yeah, that carrier is cheaper than Transamerica, they're going to be. Not for long. Give us another couple of months. We're going to roll out some premier rates, which are going to be those preferred rates, and we're going to compete very well against your healthy client with your healthy clients, and still give you select ratings for these clients that you're looking at on the screen here. So I can almost bet you that we would probably be a carrier you're going to want to turn to more and more often, even now with this. But when we roll out those preferred rates, definitely would be a carrier you want to look at for competitive rates, easy process, and clients you can guarantee are going to get almost covered with a lot of the conditions that you're running across on a daily basis. So I know that I only have a couple minutes left, so I do want to share just a few things with you guys. Right, I mentioned our application, the text to sign. I want to bring up just to show you what that kind of looks like. So let me do that quickly. I got to bring up another. Then I want to show you where to get this, where to go to write this product. And then I want to show you just some cool thing where you can go learn on your own, right? We do our sales team does webinars, like 12 to 14 of them a month. You guys can join in on.
And with you saying that this is a text signature, is that the only option? And do you have to have an email also?
You do have to have an email, so there is an email option as well. So let me bring up the slide here. Here it is. So here's what you're looking at from a text and email situation. So when you're doing this, this gives you a great screenshot of what you see, what the client sees, all those things. So here's the step on the screen for the application you're going to get. And again, this is going to happen twice. Once after you ask the health questions. So at the front of the application, you're going to ask health questions. Then you're going to get this, right? And then you're going to get an approval or a decline. If you get an approval, then you go and you get all the beneficiary and banking information right after they've been approved. And that is an instant decision, guys. So there is no underwriter that views it, right? There is no, hey, give us 24 hours to review. There is no, waiting game at all. It pops up on the screen in about 30 seconds, and that is your true decision. That's one of the benefits of it. I showed you underwriting. I talked about our process. Now I'm talking about the signature. I have, I showed you the Everest, the funeral concierge service. These are all standout benefits that we offer, right? And you got email or text again. So you're going to confirm the email or phone number, whatever you choose. You're going to ask if the client's okay with receiving a text or email from us. Then read them the script. I agree, and you confirm and send documents. When you do this, is what the client's going to see on their end. This number and text from this number. They're going to get two of them. One that's going to have a link. They do not have to click on that link, right? That's just to review their PDF documents. If they do, however, click on it, don't worry, because the next slide, so I can show you, this is what it looks like on number 4. If they do click on that, that's what your client sees. And again, the code's at the bottom. So don't be like, oh, you have to go back. Nope, just say, okay, like, oh, sorry, I clicked on that link. Let's scroll to the bottom and give me the code, and then you can click on whatever PDFs you want. Okay? But if they don't click on that link, right, then we go back to number 2, and there's a second text message that comes in with a code. Same code as on the other page, right? They're going to give you that code. You're going to read them this script, check the box, type in the code, and agree to sign for the client. So really, we keep it more in the hands of you as the agent, stating, hey, just accept my text message, give me the code, and all the signing's done. They don't have to do anything but that. And like I said, if they're getting text messages from loved ones and that, they can get a text message from you. That's going to happen again at the end after you get the banking information and stuff too, just to authorize the draft. There'll be a separate code, so it'll be a new text messages with a different code and a new script that you'll read them and type in the code and agree to sign again. We'll agree to sign again. So with that, let me close out with this. So this is our portal. For those of you listening today, this is our portal. You're going to see a lot of these tabs out here. You guys are going to want to go out to this portal, register, or log in, and you're going to want to go down. It's going to be this tab. It's going to be the second set of tabs, the very first tab. It's going to say FE Express and FFIUL2 Express online application. That is where you're going to want to go to quote and write the application. Right? If it's not in this second line, very first tab, just look for that title. There should be a launch button inside of that. If you click it, then it will bring up a dashboard where you can quote, do a pre-qualification, and write a new application. Pretty easy to quote. This is a big one I run into quite a bit. So if I click to quote here, just want to show you guys. So choosing the FE Express, choose gender. And I'm almost done. This will be 5 more minutes, guys, and I'll get you guys on your way. But so you hit continue. So a lot of agents get screwed up by this. Like, oh, how do I change? They're clicking down here, blah, blah, blah. Nope. So we give you each way. You can, it falls on face amount. So you can choose a premium. Or if you go over and select premium, you can choose a face amount. So you're just, it always defaults to a face amount. So you can choose a premium, and it's going to give you that. But if you have a client that gives you, hey, I have $60 a month, what can I get? I mean, you can put it in here and be like 60. Well, here's what I can get this client for $60 a month, right? Or if you have a client that says, I want this much in covers, and you go over to premium and you say, okay, they want 25,000. You type in 25,000, and boom, and then it comes up that way. So that's how you kind of navigate through that. I wanted to show that real quick. I do want to leave this for Amy and Sarah to share with you guys. So here's a link that I'm going to share in the chat. If you guys are listening, I want to take that, go ahead. But this is a website that we have, a portal that we have that requires no login, but it has all the information for the FE Express in there, plus our old Immediate Solutions product you guys might be familiar with. So just make sure anything you click on that has Express in the title is going to be the new product I talked about today. Anything that doesn't, like over here, is going to be our old product. But it does. It has comparison flyers, has a lot of agent and client facing and public facing information out here. A lot of tools down here to drive your success. A lot of webinars, trainings, things like that down here. Ton of information that you can learn on your own. So that link's in the chat. The last thing I want to show you guys before I let you go is if I go back to our portal, I'm going to put this link in here as well. If you go out to Insurance Central, that's a tab over here, that same line, but the last tab, if you click launch in that, guys, this is a page for all of our products, where if you want to learn anything on any of our products, you can find it all out here. But the big thing I want to share a link to is down here. We do webinars, webinar registration. So I'm going to give you this link where you go down, you can see here in April, all the webinars our sales team has done and all the topics, Transamerica 101, the Express IUL, the Express Final Expense, our, quoting software on our traditional IUL, and those products, and just some other quoting software in Life Access Training, which is our kind of policy pending review Life Access Training. So guys, there's a ton of trainings out here. They will soon be putting out, probably here by the end of the week, trainings for May. So definitely, I'm going to share this link in the chat as well if you want to grab it, or Amy's here if you want to grab it and utilize that for your team, put it out somewhere. That'd be great, but that's there as well for you. So
yes, thank you.
Yeah, with that, guys, that's what I have today. Is there any question? I didn't see any questions coming in.
Yes, there was a couple of questions actually that came up. I am not sure that I understand yours, Anthony. How are credit debit cards that expire automatically updated? I'm not.
Oh yeah, I can speak on that. So actually,
Okay.
with our system, we actually with the third party that we use for our application process, especially on the FE Express, yeah, if an expiration date hits, that causes a lot of lapses usually in clients if they have a debit or credit card on there, and all of a sudden the expiration hits and they get a new expiration date. So the company tries to draft, doesn't go through, causes a lapse. Our system is set up to automatically update those. Don't ask me the technical ability of how that works because that's way beyond my smarts.
Right.
That's for that team to take advantage of. But I have been that information has been shared that yes, if it just expires, we can somehow grab that information, automatically update it, so your client's policy stays running very smoothly.
Okay, that's awesome. I love that. So we also have Rayvon who is asking about more information on the funeral concierge services.
Okay. Yep, I can. And actually, I just seen that I just shared those links with just you guys and not the everyone. So I'm going to put those up here again for everyone. But yeah, I can. What I can do, Amy and Sarah, is I can send you the information I have on Everest, and
Okay.
if you want to throw that out there wherever you guys can put that out for your agents to grab, then that would be great. So yes, I have some the PowerPoint presentation for that, and some links that are videos that kind of are great to play for your client as far as how Everest works, why it's important, and what it can do for them. So those are
Okay.
huge things that I'll pass along to you.
Perfect. Okay. And then we'll get those over to you, Rayvon, as soon as we get those. And then we also have Eric asking what the benefit of the graded product. Um, I, I'm not sure if he's asking about how the death benefits paid out or what is the benefit of their graded product. I guess I'm not sure how he's asking that.
Well, I can answer that again. So I think the
Okay.
benefit of our graded, again, like I said, is threefold. It's very price competitive with any guaranteed issue product or other graded. It has the Everest, the funeral planning service built in on it, where again a guaranteed issue is not, and 99% of your other final expense products are not, especially on the graded. And then again, like I said, the commissions piece for you guys. I guarantee I can't speak on other carriers graded, but I know for a fact that we pay better commissions than any graded product does. And then the death benefit for it, to speak on that, just to cover everything, it is a 2-year wait, so it would be 110%. So it's return of premium plus 10%. That's how we look at it. So if the client pays 13 months worth of premium and passes away in that situation, we're going to return that 13 months of premium plus 10% as a death benefit to the client or to the beneficiaries, right? That's the first 2 years. If they live past the first 2 years and go to the third year, then it's full death benefit from there.
All right. I think that's all of the questions that I see. I don't think there's anything on this. Is that good? Yeah.
I think that's it.
All right.
You said it was a really
Awesome.
good
Well, I appreciate you guys
Yeah.
letting me come on, and again,
have,
I'll keep you guys in the loop on when we roll out those preferred rates, and maybe jump back on again and do another training on that and add that to it. And then you got the links. I'll also just send you an email real quick right after this on the Everest stuff, and make
Okay.
sure that we can get those out to you guys as well, and make sure
Awesome.
that you can get those to your agents so they can learn more
Yeah.
about that. Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And we do have a couple of agents that are saying how awesome and good the presentation was. So
Awesome.
yes.
Appreciate you guys. Well, have a blessed rest of your week, and let me know where I can be of any help.
Yes, thank you. And thank y'all all for being here with us today. I hope everyone has a great rest of their day.
Bye, guys.
Bye.